Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Another good day out here. I thought we got some good work today. Worked a lot of red zone down there in the scoring zone, and I thought both sides of the ball had some plays. Both sides of the ball executed some things, and I think it's been good work.
Dennis Allen met with reporters after OTAs on Wednesday out at the Saints training facility. Our buddy Sean Fazende, Fox 8 New Orleans, he was there. He's with us now. Sean, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Man, I'm awesome. Look, you've been to a million OTAs. What is the value of these OTA practices?
I mean, it's just, getting on the football field, repping out, what you're learning in the classroom, getting together as a team, or at least as much as you can, just to sort of kind of put the building blocks in place. Certainly not the end-all, be-all, but it's sort of that introduction to a new season, and really just kind of get the first taste of, kind of a new team, because every year, obviously, it's a new team on the football field. So, and then just getting out there, getting on the field, because, when these guys leave after the season ends, it's not like they can do any 11-on-11 stuff anywhere else. So all those things really can help when it comes to OTAs. It kind of helps just start things off for the the season ahead.
And I asked that intentionally because there's been a lot of talk about changing the NFL offseason, maybe doing away with OTAs. As you watch it play out, do you think there's merit to these practices, or would it change to this postseason or this preseason structure work?
Well, I do think there's merit to it. I don't think, not doing anything and then showing up for training camp a few weeks early after, not doing any sort of 11-on-11 stuff, on the field type stuff for, 3, 4, 5 months is maybe the smartest thing to do. Now, if they were able to do it where OTA, sort of an OTA-like type practice, kind of leading up to the official start of training camp, just so you don't have that 5-week break, maybe that could work. But even that's a long stretch to go from the start of training camp all the way to the end of the season. So that's going to be, when that report came out, I couldn't really get a read because a lot of the players hadn't necessarily seen it all, but I'm not sure which way that's going to go with some of the players, in particular the veteran players that really are accustomed to a certain calendar, and that's just a long stretch to go when the season ends all the way to the start of training camp. If you start late June, early July, as opposed to that having that little sort of 6-7 week sort of conditioning and on-field work in the middle, April, May, and in June.
All right, let's talk about what you did see out there and what may be of merit. I think a lot of people are talking about Chris Olave being in the no-contact jersey. Anything at all of concern there?
No.
Okay.
It was an injury in the weight room. It was minor. He practiced. it was a little weird seeing the red no-contact jersey on a receiver, but he practiced and practiced well. Had 2 big catches from Carr, one on a deep over route during 7-on-7, the other a touchdown during red zone. So he was out there doing everything. And the non-contact for a receiver, they're not tackling guys right now. I guess it was just more of a precaution. But as far as my eyes could tell, he did just about everything he had done the last couple practices we had seen. He had a pretty good practice as well.
What about Derek Carr? It's all going to be a learning process in year 2, but especially because it's year 1 with Clint Kubiak. How would you assess what you've seen, a very, very, very small sample size of Derek Carr so far?
Well, last week I thought he had a fantastic practice. He was 8 for 8. The ball didn't touch the ground. Today I thought all 3 quarterbacks, Carr included, really had to battle a little bit. He threw a touchdown to Chris Olave. He threw another touchdown to Michael Jacobson. But in between that, he got picked off on a red zone play, kind of one of those congested balls back at the end zone. Ball got tipped up in the air and was picked off. But his comfort level within the system, I think, is growing. But I don't think I think this is a big thing as well. His comfort level within the organization and within the city is as good as it's ever been. And he's pretty open about that last year, about how some of the things that came along with changing organizations and changing cities, that it probably was harder on him than he realized. It probably took him longer to adjust than he realized. Now in year 2 in the city, everything situated. Plus, he's not catching up to his teammates. They're all learning a new system together. It just leads to a little bit more of a comfortable in his own skin sort of feel. I think he's a little more out there, a little more vocal, a little more encouraging with the teammates. It just feels like he's a little more comfortable with being a leader right now. Again, it's early and we still have a long way to go, but I do think he just feels a little more comfortable out there, both with the system and obviously with the Saints.
Anything of note with the other two, with Haener and Rattler? And I'm omitting Peterman, but I think at this point we all understand. And you tell me if you disagree, Sean, but it feels like whoever's going to be the number 2 is going to be one of the draft picks.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought both guys battled. Haener had a nice day today. He started off hot, 7 on 7, closed out his day with a touchdown throw to Jawan Johnson. Spencer Rattler, the last 2 practices were disasters, absolute disasters. He threw 3 interceptions over those last 2 practices. But today, he battled back. He had a nice effort. He improved. Had a touchdown pass to Cedric Wilson during red zone. Looked a little more confident, looked a little more sure of himself, looked a little more aware of the timing issues in the NFL. The windows closed pretty quick in the NFL. That's what caught him the last couple of weeks. So I thought both those guys had pretty good days. I thought all 3 quarterbacks battled kind of ebb and flow of practice where the defense had some good plays, and then they were able to come back with some good plays of their own. Nathan Peterman, by the way, got 2 throws today, and one of them was an interception during 7.
You had to throw that in there. Oh, Nathan Peterman catching strays on AFR today. Sean Fazande's with us on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8. I know whenever you're not in pads, it's impossible to discern anything with the offensive line or the defensive line. But what, in your observations, is significant going on with that position right now?
Good question. Well, first off, Penning at right tackle was big news a couple of weeks ago. He's still there. He's still at right tackle. Feels like it's his job to lose. They want him to win that job, and he's in a better place mentally with the new offensive line coach and give him the first 2 years have been in his career. Feels like he's in a better place with this new system. We'll see how he adapts, and we'll see. Again, there's a long way to go. But the other one's probably not getting enough attention. Nick Saldiveri now, the last 3 practices we've seen, he has gotten the majority of the first-team reps at left guard, the second-year pro, Nick Saldiveri, who barely saw the field a season ago. That position, left guard, is still very much up in the air. And Nick Saldiveri getting the majority of the first-team reps when a couple other veterans are there, like Lucas Patrick and Shane Lemieux, who he was splitting with the first practice we were able to see. For him to get the majority of those reps the last couple of weeks, I think is certainly significant. I don't know if that means he's in the lead, but I do know this. They're not rotating right now with first team at left guard. So I think that's significant as well along the offensive line. That right tackle obviously would be Trevor Penning, and then Nick Saldiveri getting the majority of the reps at left guard.
Any position, rookies standing out good or bad for whatever reason?
Well, Fuaga has been the first team at left tackle. That's your first-round pick, so that's certainly an encouraging sign. Christian Boyd has gotten some reps at defensive tackle. He's kind of rotated in and rotated out. Jalen Ford was a guy. He's been working off to the side, not getting much work with his team, just doing more of the injury recovery type stuff. Bub Means had a couple moments in some previous practices that I think could certainly help himself just because that wide receiver position, he's a bigger body player. He's got a good personality, seems to fit in well with the culture of the locker room. And I think, the wide receiver room is very young, so I think he's got an opportunity just to, if he can get on the field and make plays, especially with using the size to his advantage. So I think he certainly had decent moments over the OTA session as well. So, yeah, I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry's still out, and he'll probably be back doing something next week, but not team drills. So certainly that's significant. And then we'll see. I mean, it's been early. We've only got to see 3 practices. But, look, Fuaga right now is still your starting left tackle, and Bub Means has gotten his hands on a few passes, which I think is certainly encouraging.
Sean, before you go, you look at the calendar. It's June the 5th, so we're past the post-June 1 designation. Mm-hmm. Do you expect any free agent additions here now that, or subtractions now that we're post June 1?
I think they would at least maybe take a look. I don't know for sure. You look at the defensive end position with Tano going down, and Young still being injured, and Cam Jordan. We'll see what he ends up doing. I mean, if for no other reason, you need someone to take some reps at defensive end once training camp rolls around. If those guys are still unavailable. And I know DA said they'll have a clearer picture on Chase Young by next week in terms of kind of his future going forward with his health and how quickly he can get back on the football field. Could you use another D tackle? Maybe. You got 3 that you can count on, but do you need that 4th guy in the rotation? I think that's certainly something you could consider. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're always looking, they're always open to the idea of adding a veteran if the situation presents itself. They're not going to spend a lot of money. We know that, just based off the free agent signs that they've already made this offseason. So, but they're never going to close the door and just say we're set. So, yeah, I think there's certainly a possibility.
About $4 million or so in cap space for the Saints right now. See if they get active anywhere. Sean Fazende, Fox 8 on Twitter at Sean Fazende, Fox 8 if you want to give him a follow. Always appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.